Big 12 universities are pressing the red button, running out of money in today's era of athletics. That's not good. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. That is Nick Maravets of Locked On Iowa. Locked On Cyclones? Locked On Cyclones,
yep.
Talking all things Iowa State. Thanks for making his show your first or second listen every day. There are Big 12 schools, Iowa State included, who are running out of money right now. This is not something that Jamie Pollard, their athletic director, has shied away from. They actually stopped a $20 million wrestling facility. It is on hold right now because of revenue sharing. Now, this is one of those deals where explain it to me like I'm five. I read through so much stuff in the last week of what is this revenue sharing. Universities will have around $20 million that they will have to provide themselves to their athletes and spread it out amongst football or basketball, volleyball, and the like. For Iowa State, Jamie Pollard was like, whoa, hey, you're telling me I have to take $20 million more dollars out of my budget and now put it somewhere else every year, and if I don't, I can't compete with the SEC and the Big Ten, everybody else, the big dogs. We have to do that. So he puts a facility that is the same cost of 1 year of revenue sharing on hold and says, this is a quote from Des Moines Register, there is just no way possible to go forward and convince the state that we can take bonds out to pay for a wrestling facility when the college football playoff decided to take all the money and give it to the Big Ten and the SEC. So we are being taken from revenue sharing to the college football playoff to ESPN to TNT. No one's giving the Big 12 the money of the power to. And Nick, it's killing off very solid universities and athletic departments like Iowa State's.
It hurts, man. It really hurts, especially because when you consider, I personally feel like the Big 12 is kind of like not the little brother, but kind of the brother that everybody loves, right? I feel like we do things the right way a lot of times. I mean, you want to look at the quote right after Iowa State wins the Pop-Tart Bowl. Hard to find teams in college football. There's one here in Ames. That's kind of we've built that strong foundation, but we're not necessarily that huge market. I hate to say this, but Iowa State struggles to fight even Iowa in the same state. Yeah. So as far as in the nation, we're not exactly turning a ton of heads. Obviously, that Miami game was huge, and I talked about that at the time. A win over a big-time ACC opponent is a step in the right direction, but it's hard to argue. We are just, like Iowa State specifically, not a huge market team, more of a kind of do things right from the inside out kind of way it goes about things. So it hurts to see things like this happening when you've done things right up until this point. It feels like it.
Pollard continued that quote with this NCAA antitrust lawsuit getting ready to be settled, you just can't go forward with projects like that. That's the same reason we didn't go forward with Hilton Coliseum renovation. You just can't bond for them. This is affecting so many, especially state schools in the Big 12, because they just don't know where the money came from. It's not a bright side, but it's the reason I still have hope is because when we talk about athletes who go to Ohio State versus Iowa State or Alabama versus Iowa State, there's always been a disparity there, yet the Cyclones have still won. That's the one thing I'm still clinging to here is I guess that fact that it's already tough to pull in an athlete when you're a recruiting battle against Miami, but Iowa State's been doing it and doing it successfully as a school that is relentlessly resourceful.
Well, and Jamie Pollard, the man, right? Dog.
Yeah.
Why? Two major extensions in the last month. Matt Campbell and TJ Otzelberger. They run their programs the right way from the inside out. I actually find it humorous at this point. TJ, obviously with the Cyclones being so good at basketball right now, has been all over the media, just interviews everywhere. Says the exact same answers every time, sticks to his morals. This is how we run our program, daily habits. We're going to go and get in, the best practice we can, go from there, get a little bit better each and every single day. We're not flashy, no highs, no lows. Same thing for Matt Campbell. The way that the culture is built inside of Iowa State, inside of Ames, inside of Jack Trice, inside of Hilton, pick a hole anywhere on campus. You want to go to Carver. That's how it is here at Iowa State, and I think people recognize that. You want to look at Chase Sowell, the transfer from East Carolina. Notice obviously Higgins' game, kind of models his game after Jaden Higgins. And he comes in, he meets with Noel, he meets with Higgins, he meets with Rocco Beck, and then some coaches and assistant coaches. And he just loved the culture. That is what this university, that's really where we have to kind of put our cornerstone. That's where we have to try and take an advantage, because it's not going to be in money. It's not going to be in numbers.
The idea that a Cincinnati or a Houston can compete from a revenue standpoint with even a TCU or a Baylor, a lot of the private schools are going to benefit from this, and they've got donors continually putting money into the athletic department itself and not NIL, is going to cause everyone to get creative. Do you think, because Texas Tech's the one school I still circle and say, hey, your NIL is solid enough, you could offset. If there's a world where, hey, Alabama's using the entire $20 million revenue share, Texas Tech can only do 15, some of our athletes are losing money, kids are trying to go elsewhere, we need to offset that with NIL. Is Iowa State in a spot where the Cyclones can do that?
I'd say there's potential. The thing that's great about Cyclone Nation is just how tight knit it is, right? You talk to anybody on the street and you just can instantly tell. That being said, it's, like I said, just not the market. It's not huge, right? So Locked On Cyclones, we're in this thing together. You guys listening and we're kind of out here alone, right? We've got a few other major media guys who are running a few shows, but there's just not the promotion for the We Will Collective. So if you're a huge fan and this whole NIL deal is new, it's confusing, it's just hard to get in front of people with the lack of coverage of Iowa State, because we are a little smaller in the Big 12 and historically have not been great in physical contests, if you want to call sports that. But I do believe that the guys and gals rooting for Iowa State are some of the most passionate fans in the country. So I'll say that, basically to say yes and no. It's hard to really know, but they will open up the pocketbooks, I think, if we can get the word out.
The CEO of Oracle for a long time was Mark Hurd. He's a Baylor alum. And at Arkansas, you have the Walton family or the Tysons. I mean, every university kind of has the 2 or 3 major donors that are pouring money. At Baylor still, Drayton McClain was the owner of the Astros, and he helped pull forward this football stadium they built 10 years ago. Does Iowa State have that kind of basis? Are there enough, billionaire alumni that can give to the Cyclones?
Actually, I don't know off the top of my head. That's a tough question. And it might be something that's just slipping through my cracks. But I will say, obviously I mentioned kind of just a lack of sports production over the last 20, 30 years. The football team has been, it hurts to say, a little bit of a laughing stock at times. It's certainly, we've had good moments, great moments. Don't get me wrong. But I think a lot of these because, Iowa State obviously produces billionaires out the wazoo, right? That's just what we do here, corn fed. But a lot of them don't have that Iowa State football connection, that Iowa State basketball connection. Basketball's been better, but because we just haven't been as good. And so I actually, instead of looking towards the billionaires, which is where the money is, I would look more towards the crowd, the people that come in every time that we're at home. They're camping out for every single Hilton game. Obviously, that's more students than anybody else, but we're stronger in the masses here in Ames, in my opinion. I mean, maybe I'm just blind, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, and that's the way it's going to be for a lot of these universities in the Big 12, so you're not alone. Nick, where can more people find your work?
Nick Marv on Twitter, got the handle right there, and obviously Locked On Cyclones, baby, every day.
Good. Today's show is brought to you by Wayfair. Nick, did I tell you I bought a new house?
No, you didn't. Sounds like
new to me. It's a used house. I bought a new house that's new to me. Wayfair is where I've gone after the holiday hustle, and it's nothing. It is nothing short of amazing to give my home a little TLC. Whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or just want to give your space a new look, and within your budget, Wayfair has everything you need. I'm currently looking for furniture. I need a couch. My couch smelled like dog. I want a new couch, Nick, that doesn't smell like dog. They have free and hassle-free delivery, even for larger items. Wayfair's site was so easy to navigate. I found everything I needed in no time. There's something for every style, every home, no matter your space. They make it easy to tackle your New Year's goal, even with your ranch-style Chip and Joanna home. Give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. It's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thank you again to Nick Maravets for joining the show today and talking Big 12 crisis across the board. This has been, it always will be, Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.